In the autumn of 2019, a homeless woman in Anchorage, Alaska, stole a stranger's cell phone for a bit of cash. When she saw what was saved on the device, it gave her the shock of her life. She had stumbled across videos and images of a brutal and sadistic murder.
Where he says something, "No, you must want to get murdered tonight because you're not leaving this hotel because I'm going to murder you." It shows some really sick on there.
This discovery sparked an investigation that would unravel the secrets of a double life, reveal the truth behind an illicit affair, uncover a troubling friendship, and point to many more victims.
You have to understand, just a week ago, I was in love with this man. He's a murderer, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it.
Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today, we're tackling a case that has made national and international headlines for good reason. It's an intricate story of a brutal killer, one that brazenly documented and boasted about his murders, all the while continuing his activities undetected for years. Let's take a look. On September 30th, 2019, police in Anchorage, Alaska transported 47-year-old Valerie Kasler to the station for questioning. Valerie was homeless and had been living in a tent behind the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. For 2 weeks straight, she said, she had been drinking and taking illegal drugs. But a few days earlier, a shocking discovery had sobered her up in a matter of seconds. Valerie told police that she had found an SD card on the sidewalk.
So I'm like, cool, I scored. I found another SD card. Maybe there's music on it. Mm-hmm. There ain't no music on that card. And all that was on there was the thing that said homicide.
It said homicide?
On the SD card. When I put it in my phone to see if there was music on it, it just came up, it says homicide.
What was it that said homicide on it?
The title.
Oh, the title of it?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it? Pictures, videos? What'd you see?
It was pictures and videos.
Okay.
The first date on it was September 3rd.
Okay.
It had her from September 3rd to the 5th.
The memory card handed over to the APD contained 39 images and 12 videos. They depicted what appeared to be the torture and murder of a Native Alaskan woman inside of a hotel room. Some images depicted the woman unconscious, others after she was deceased. The killer had taken her from the room to the parking lot behind the hotel in a luggage cart, wrapped in a white sheet. The man spoke to her in the videos, documenting his cruelty and the later disposal of evidence, including her body. From the cart, the woman was placed in the trailer of a pickup truck. The license plate was not visible. But there were other indications of the killer's identity. The pattern of the carpet in the hotel room suggested the location. Though his face was never visible, one image captured the killer's shoes. Perhaps most revealing, the male voice that narrated his depravity had a distinct accent.
Some of them would be like, "Oh, this is chapter 1, Chapter 1, take 1. And then there was one where he says something, "No, you must want to get murdered tonight because you're not leaving this hotel because I'm going to murder you."
Okay.
And then it just shows some really sick shit on there.
Okay.
And then on the videos, you don't see no face. He doesn't have no face, but his accent is like Polish. It's foreign.
Valerie continued to provide police with helpful information. She described how the parking lot shown in multiple images looked exactly like the one behind the Town Place Suites by Marriott in Midtown Anchorage. She also provided a description of her timeline, detailing the discovery of the SD card on the side of the road.
On that sidewalk right there is where I found it.
Okay.
The SD card.
Is it on the sidewalk closest to cars or on the other side of the street?
Across the street.
This part of Valerie's story was false. She had not happened across the SD card, but rather had come across the files on a cell phone she had stolen 2 days earlier. She was hanging out near a grocery store in Anchorage on September 19th when a man with a foreign accent pulled up in a black Ford Ranger and asked her if she wanted to go for a drive. She agreed, climbed into the truck, and spent the next few hours driving around the streets of Anchorage. When the driver pulled over at a gas station and went inside to withdraw cash, she reached over across the center console and pocketed his phone. Days later, discovering the contents of the device, she transferred the files onto the memory card and labeled it homicide at a Midtown Marriott. Taking the card to the police, Valerie lied about its provenance, fearing charges for theft or for soliciting prostitution. The voice of the killer was not Polish, but South African. In the city of Anchorage, that narrowed the list of possible suspects significantly. At the Marriott Hotel in Midtown, records showed that one of their own employees, 48-year-old South African-born maintenance worker Brian Stephen Smith, had checked into room 323 on the night of September 3rd for 2 nights. A search of the room confirmed that it was most likely the location where the pictures and videos had been captured. Investigators believed that the images Valerie had found on the stolen phone were authentic, and that Marriott hotel worker Brian Stephen Smith was their killer. Brian Smith was 48 years old in 2019. He grew up in Queenstown in the Eastern Cape province in South Africa. He went to Queen's College and later joined the military. Friends of Brian's from his home country described him as quiet and standoffish. He later emigrated to the United States and became a naturalized American citizen. He settled in Anchorage with wife Stephanie Bisland, who was nearly 2 decades his senior, in 2014. Outwardly, Brian presented himself as an outdoorsman. He loved the Alaskan landscape and living in proximity to nature.
This is the beaver dam. It was made by ancient beavers.
Brian had previously worked at Dowell Engineering as a materials tester and inspector.
At Dowell, it's the people who fill our halls that are the magic that makes us different.
It was there that he met his mistress, 39-year-old Alicia Youngblood. She was training for a certification as a materials tester. Already certified, Brian offered to help her study. With Alicia, Brian developed a deep connection. After several months of friendship, the relationship turned physical. Alongside this development, the two began sharing increasingly extreme fantasies with each other. Brian believed that he could share his darkest secrets and desires with her, and he did exactly that. To Alicia, however, the stories they shared were only that, stories. So, when Brian shared a video with Alicia that appeared to show him in the act of killing an Alaskan woman, Alicia was terrified and disturbed. She reported the incident to the police. This report came a full year prior to the discovery made by Valerie Kasler in September 2019. The APD were dealing with not 1, but 2 potential murders.
Do you know Brian's last name?
Smith.
Smith.
He's got the most common name. His name is Brian Stephen Smith.
Yeah.
You have to understand, just a week ago, I was in love with this man. So
No, we totally get it.
he's a fucking murderer, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it.
Alicia said Brian had also shared other violent videos with her, though many of these were fake, she said. They were part of the fantasies the two played out together. This one video, however, was different. It was real.
I know what I saw was real. It'd been better if I saw his face, but I know what I saw is real.
Okay.
And I know that him telling me about it is real. But in my mind, I keep thinking, what if I'm wrong?
Alicia worked with police for months to gather information on Brian. She shared all of their correspondence, the disturbing images and videos that he would send her, many of which could be traced to existing content circulated online. Brian told her he had collected a woman from the streets, taken her home, and killed her.
Why did he go out and do this? Did he say why he did it?
To release anger, to vent, to get it out of me.
Did he sound like he'd ever met this girl before? Or?
No, I don't think so.
Deeply disturbed by the images she held in her head, Alicia began walking the streets of the neighborhood where Brian said he would find his victims. She began knocking on random doors, asking if anyone was missing.
I really want her found. Can y'all tell me where y'all are at with that?
Well, that's what we're researching. And in Alaska, yes, we're a large state, smaller population, but we have people who come up missing all the time.
Well, if you do find her, so I don't have to keep checking the news, can y'all let me know?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, because it's keeping me up. I drove over there yesterday and got out and knocked door to door and asked if anybody had been missing around there. I've done that for 2 days in a row.
In the meantime, Brian began boasting of even more murders he claimed to have committed. A 15-year-old he strangled in South Africa, more women in his home country, and then in Alaska. He described killing like eating, telling Alicia that he simply consumed his victims and moved on.
And so he just thinks of them as food instead. They're nothing. They're something you consume and get rid of.
Neither Alicia's efforts walking the streets of Anchorage nor those of law enforcement were successful in identifying the victim from the video Alicia had viewed. Detectives determined there was not enough evidence to proceed with an arrest. By the time that Valerie Kasler handed over the SD card to homicide detectives at the APD in September 2019, an entire year had passed since Alicia had first approached them with information of this other, earlier murder. If all the digital evidence was authentic, Brian Smith had killed at least 2 unknown women in Anchorage, filmed his crimes, bragged about them, and was still a free man. Three days after the SD card was turned over by Valerie, the remains of a native Alaskan woman were discovered along the Seaward Highway. They were initially unidentifiable due to exposure to the elements. Eventually, dental records led authorities to an ID. Kathleen Jo Henry. 30-year-old Kathleen had grown up in Eek, a Yupik village of about 300 people in the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Kathleen was divorced. In the years leading up to her death, she had struggled with addiction. Those close to her said that she loved writing poetry. Kathleen was identified by family as the same woman depicted in the photos and video taken at the Midtown Marriott. On the 8th of October, Brian Smith was arrested at the Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport when he returned from a family visit to Washington, D.C. He was interviewed at the airport by APD detectives.
I appreciate you coming up here with these guys and talking to me. Obviously, we're here at the airport. They brought you up here to talk to me, so we have some kind of a formality to get by. I have to read you what's called a Miranda warning. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to read this to you.
Brian admitted quickly to spending the night of September 3rd at the Marriott Hotel with a woman that was not his wife. He told detectives that he and Stephanie had an argument, after which he had drank heavily and, as a result, had only hazy recollections of the evening. He was certain, however, that the woman he was with that night had very short hair. He did not identify Kathleen. He claimed that the woman he spent the night with was a worker at a local homeless shelter. He had driven her back there the next morning, he said. How then did he explain images of his truck, his shoes, and recordings of his voice that were found on the recovered memory card?
So they basically, the photographs, time and date stamp matched at the time that you were at that hotel room.
Okay.
So that's how this SD card has led me to you.
Okay.
And like I said, there's a number of images on there and there's a number of videos on there, and I brought some of the pictures to kind of go over with you about that. So this is one of the images on there. Part of it is kind of cut down a little bit, but can you tell me what's in that photo?
There's somebody's feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whose feet are those?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm looking at you. I mean, it looks Looks like the shoes you're wearing right now.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Okay. Is it safe to say those are your feet in that picture?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not the only person that's got shoes like this.
Okay.
I did recently buy these. I can't tell you when.
Okay, you can't tell me when. How long have you had them?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, like I said, there's videos of it. There's video of it. There's audio of it. There's a voice I've been talking to you now for almost 30, 40 minutes. And I know it was your voice I could hear in the video.
Okay.
And if you'd like to hear some of that, I can refresh your memory with it.
What's happening when that's...
What's happening is on this video, on these images, the person that's recording it is holding the recorder and is standing basically above this girl and strangling her.
Okay.
And so we need to talk about this. We need to get ahead of this, Mr. Smith.
I don't want to act stupid, but I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything.
Okay. But this occurred, and like I said, the photos are timestamped. This occurred in that room 323, 323, on September 4th, early mornings.
Yeah.
At the time that you were at the hotel.
The 4th, I'm not denying. I'm not saying you're lying, but I don't remember anything like this.
The interview followed a circular pattern for the better part of 4 hours. Brian was presented with the overwhelming evidence of his guilt, from his check-in at the hotel to the actual recording of the crime. He did not overtly deny that he was the person in the video. In fact, he acknowledged that the voice sounded like him. The killer even made statements that sounded like things he would say. He also conceded that it was his truck depicted in some of the images.
I do not remember taking photos of it.
Could anybody else have done this and been you?
Look, it has to be me. I was the only person there. It has to be me. But I don't remember it. I'm telling you, I do not remember taking the photo.
Eventually, without directly confessing to murder, he admitted to disposing of Kathleen's body. At first, he told the detectives that he found her wrapped in a sheet beneath a blue tarp, already deceased, in his trailer at the end of his shift. In a panic, he drove to Seward Highway, where he left her by the train tracks.
So how did you know that it was a body in the back of your truck when you saw the stuff leaking out of it?
Well, I went into my truck and I saw something dripping out. Mm-hmm. And I went in like, what? And like, oh, Jesus. You know?
But you opened up your truck and looked?
Yeah. She was wrapped in white with a blue tarp over that.
And where's the tarp and the blanket now?
Well, that I tossed in the dumpster to get rid of it. So I didn't want to throw it out. You'll spot it immediately.
So you wanted to be found immediately?
When I came into town, I can't remember where it was, but the first dumpster I found, I just threw it away.
Okay.
Yeah. What gets me is my voice on that. That is my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's really troubling.
Brian had done little to conceal Kathleen after leaving her on the side of the road. His documentation of the crime was also a brazen move, one that suggested he was proud of his actions and that he may have wanted to be caught. He had also boasted to Alicia of being a serial killer.
It's the most weirdest, messed up thing that's ever happened in my life.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that this is the only time this has ever happened in your life.
Yeah.
Even though you're telling other people and her while you're killing her that it's not. You're telling her that you're a serial killer and you are telling Alicia that you're a serial killer. Right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
You told her that.
Yeah, initially her and I were just like a one-on-one, and then I'd add on more and more people as I...
At first, Brian claimed that his many stories to Alicia were nothing but fantasy, with just this single exception. One of the murders, he said, just happened to be true.
Have you ever killed anybody else? I'll just be straight up with you.
No.
Are we going to find any evidence that you're attached to any missing persons either here or South Africa?
No, that's big talks. That I told you that was just big talk between.
Okay, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't.
Yeah, you have to ask. Yeah,
right. You know, because the video that we watch, frankly, it doesn't look like an amateur. Everything else does, but it doesn't look like the person in that video. It doesn't look like it's the first time they've killed somebody. You're enjoying yourself killing her.
So if there's something else we need to talk about, now would be the time to do it.
Just this one. This is the only person you've ever killed.
Yes.
And so we don't need to be looking at other people.
No.
Roughly 15 minutes after this definitive statement, and following hours of questioning, detectives prepared to process Brian and take him into custody. But Brian Smith, it seems, had more to share.
Are you guys in a rush to go home?
Are we in a rush?
Yeah.
You want to talk some more?
We're not in a rush. We got
all night.
I have 2 days.
I saw your ears do that.
You know what? I mean, that's what we do. We love to talk.
Some time ago, I can't remember when, I picked up a very drunk girl. My wife was gone. She was away for the weekend. I had to go home. And I shot her.
Brian told detectives that sometime in 2017 or 2018, he picked up an intoxicated woman who had appeared destitute and brought her to his home. He spent less than an hour with her in his basement before growing angry over her behavior, he said. He insisted that she take a shower, and she refused. So he picked up one of his many firearms and shot the woman in the head. He felt guilty afterwards, he said, because she was a very sweet lady who had been kind to him.
You know, she was stinking, and I was getting upset, and I said to her, go take a shower, you know, because now there's smell in the house. You know, Stephanie would smell like there was a homeless person in the house. Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't do it. She kept saying, no. I feel very guilty about that girl, that lady. She was a sweet lady. She was nice. The only thing,
this lady?
Yeah. Okay. All she did to me was make my house stink.
And wouldn't go to the shower when you told her to.
Brian was presented with photos of 3 women, one of whom could be the victim whom he had shot dead in his basement. He immediately recognized the first woman shown to him, 53-year-old Veronica Abouchuk. Veronica, like Kathleen, had struggled with homelessness on the streets of Anchorage. Her family last saw her in July 2018. Her last confirmed sighting was at Bean's Cafe in Anchorage that October. Though Veronica had fallen on hard times, she had a large, loving family. Her daughter reported her missing and kept hope alive online, writing, "I don't think anyone should have to go through this. Just hoping she is alive and well." A search warrant was executed on Brian's home. Descending the stairs to the lower level, police isolated the area around a small red sofa where Veronica had spent her last moments. Brian had made attempts at cleaning the carpet. His wife believed the visible stains were caused by a glass of red wine. When the dark blue carpet was pulled up, it revealed bloodstains beneath. A collection of firearms were found at the property, including the handgun used to shoot and kill Veronica. A large number of electronics were also seized. Brian considered himself talented with computers. He collected old phone models, repaired and resold them online for a small profit. On one of these many devices, police found footage and images of Veronica Abouchuk's murder. In them, Brian had undressed and taken photos leaning over Veronica as she lay dead on the red sofa. Brian told detectives that he placed Veronica in a large garbage bag and drove out to a rural location. He left the bag near the tree line, which was visible from the road. For this reason, he knew that she had been discovered. In the months since leaving her there, Brian had occasionally driven past the location, checking for a glimpse of the bag from the roadway. Veronica had indeed been found by berry pickers in mid-April of 2019. She had been in the location where Brian led detectives.
So in relationship to where we're sitting, how far was the bag in?
Well, against those trees.
Trees right here?
Oh, yes, here. This is it.
So left or right?
Oh, you stop right here. It's to the right of us.
Like it was this close?
Yeah. They didn't find anybody here, but I'm sure the photo you showed me was the lady. It looked like a.
Probably not a face you forget, huh?
Yeah, no, sure. She was
like when you do something like that, you probably were gonna remember that person if you saw their photo again, right?
Yeah. But also like I told you before I saw the photos, that she was just looked like a very nice person. You know, she was a nice.
Yeah.
Brian Stephen Smith was held in custody pending murder charges. Unbelievably, he pleaded not guilty. During this time, more of his dark secrets were coming to the surface. In addition to his mistress, Alicia Youngblood, it seems Brian had another confidant with whom he openly shared details of his depravity. Text messages that Brian sent to a friend and ex-coworker during the time he spent torturing Kathleen showed him boasting of his activities. Brian wrote to his friend, "I have something to show you, something I can't keep for too long. Need to find a secluded spot to meet." His friend agreed. Cell phone tracking placed Brian driving out to Forsyth Park, which is a local playground. He and his friend were placed at the park together for roughly 10 minutes. During this time, Kathleen was dead in the back of his truck. Detectives paid a visit to this friend, a man named Ian Calhoun. Ian lived on the Anchorage hillside near the park.
And there's some text messages from Brian to you and from you to Brian.
Okay.
On around the evening when this incident occurred that was in the news, the first one that was in the news.
Yeah. Okay.
So can you tell me about that?
I mean, I don't know much other than I want to say that was one of the nights we got really drunk. He came over, drank until 1 in the morning, and then he took off. It was ill-advised. We tried to get him to crash here. We offered to make him a bed, make him a place to stay so he didn't drive.
Okay.
We didn't want him to get a car accident.
Sure.
And he chose to leave. And then he texted me a little while later saying he was out having some fun. And
okay.
Then, I mean, yeah.
So he texted you he was out having some fun?
Yeah. He didn't really say what it was in reference to or anything like that. So I just assumed he was out drinking more, partying. I mean,
okay.
Brian, he can hold his liquor for being a little guy. I mean, you know.
Well, I saw that text. He's like, "Hey, I'm out having fun." It was about 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
On the 4th, early morning 4th.
Yeah.
You texted him back about 7 a.m.
Yeah, that was when I was getting up to go to work.
You said I was sleeping.
Yep.
But then you said it sounded like you were having fun or something like that. Why did it sound? Did you have a voicemail from him? Did you have?
No, I just assumed. I mean, he would tell me about whenever we'd get together and drink, he would just say, "Oh, a couple weeks ago I got really drunk, saw a bar fight," and he would just make. Just talk about stories. You know? So I mean,
usually
he was out having.
Continue to drink.
Exactly. So I mean, when he said he was out having fun, I just assumed he was out.
Okay. So he didn't leave you any voicemails or call you that night or that morning or.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I haven't checked. I mean.
After looking through Ian's phone, detectives determined that some messages he had exchanged with Brian had been deleted, perhaps in an attempt to conceal their meeting in the park.
Obviously, by now you can probably figure out that we went through his phone and looked at the text messages, and I can see that there's some text messages missing.
Okay.
Something so, and that's what, and I think you know which one I'm talking about because it's obvious they're not on there.
I don't remember the ones I deleted, but I did delete some. Yeah.
Later at the station, Ian explained that he and Brian were simply drinking buddies. He thought that much of Brian's stories were exaggerated. His crude jokes were representative of nothing more than a harmless, if twisted, sense of humor. No one thinks their friend will turn out to be a serial killer. Ian admitted that he had met with Brian on the evening of September 5th. In the bed of his friend's pickup truck was the figure of a woman.
I never really put two and two together until he started making more of these comments and then seeing the thing on the news, and it's like, holy shit, that was real.
Did you know that was a real body the night you saw it?
No, I had no idea that was a real body the night that I saw it.
Describe to me what you saw, exactly what you saw.
I mean, I was a distance away. He flipped a sheet or a tarp back. I don't remember what, and it was just there was a head and there was some black hair. That was it. I mean, it wasn't even from the shoulder up. It was like I could only see a little tiny piece of it, you know what I mean? And I didn't walk any closer.
Did you know that was a dead body in that car when you saw that?
I had a gut feeling, but I didn't want to believe it.
So why didn't you call anybody or say something?
I was worried. I was scared. I mean, like, if I say something, like, what if he tries to come after my family? Like, who do I tell? You know what I mean? I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what to do.
You knew that wasn't a sex doll, a fake plastic sex doll. You knew that. You knew that was a dead body you saw in the back of that car, right?
I don't know. It was a mental block.
It was October 2nd when Kathleen's body was found on the side of Seward Highway. It was reported in the local news. That afternoon, Ian sent a Facebook message to Brian, linking to a local news article about the discovery. Oops, was Brian's response. Ian wrote, "As soon as I saw it, knew I should send you a text. I'm surprised it took so long. In a few weeks, snow would have covered it. I was kinda hoping that it would hurry and snow. There is something else I must tell. I will talk next week, but keep an eye on this about any leads. Can't talk, not alone. Everyone is upset that I am carrying my phone around on vacation. Gotcha. We'll get together soon." While Brian's mistress and drinking buddy had been given a view into his dark, secret life, that was not the case for his wife, Stephanie. 2 weeks following his arrest, she told the local media of her husband. "We all have tempers at times, but I never saw one that would do what these people are describing."
I've never seen anything that dark in him. When I think about that, I think, how could I have missed it? How can you miss something like that?
She explained how police had come to the house to execute a search warrant. That is when she learned that there was evidence that a murder had taken place in her basement.
Then they pushed everything back here, and we're looking around, and then they decided that they didn't like something they saw on the rug.
After Brian's arrest, Alicia Youngblood reached out to Stephanie via text message. The mother of 6 wrote, "I am the one that turned in Brian Stephen Smith the first time. I died every day for what he had done. I need to speak with you." What followed was a raw and honest exchange between 2 women who had loved a man that they now knew was a monster. They both spoke of the darkness that had consumed the Brian they knew. There were 2 sides of him, they said. One Alicia referred to as the beast, while the person they loved was only light and kindness. The 2 women corresponded from late June to early July. One of Alicia's final texts was a photo of a fireworks display. Stephanie wished her a nice 4th of July holiday weekend. She had offered forgiveness to her husband's former mistress. Alicia Youngblood died by suicide on July 4th, 2021. Brian Smith would later claim her death must have been by nefarious means, part of a conspiracy against him. He now claimed he was innocent. In addition to 2 counts of murder in the first degree for the killings of Kathleen Henry and Veronica Abouchuk, Brian Smith also faced another 12 charges, including sexual assault in the 2nd degree, tampering with physical evidence, and misconduct involving a corpse. When the trial commenced in February 2024, over 4 years after Brian's arrest, the defense focused on what they characterized as the questionable authenticity of the Marriott Hotel video. The chain of custody was in question after Valerie Kasler lied repeatedly to law enforcement over how she had acquired the SD card.
But suffice to say, it's changed a whole bunch in 4 years. She's lied about it several times, material details. But really what they have is a video in a very questionable and still largely unknown origin.
Valerie told jurors that she lied to police about finding the memory card on the ground to protect herself. She testified that she later lost the cell phone that originally held the files when she tripped while walking in the woods. But the video that she found on it and transferred to the SD card spoke for itself.
In the hotel room, it showed her laying on the ground on the rug, and she was like all beat up. I mean, her face was not even recognizable. And he was hitting her and telling her that she isn't going to leave the hotel alive, that he's killing her.
Of Brian's 2 confidants, Alicia Youngblood had already testified to the grand jury prior to the indictments. Ian Calhoun asserted his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and did not testify at trial. Nonetheless, text messages between the two were read aloud to jurors.
And he responds, "I was not up, comma, sounds like you were having a lot of fun. I did have fun, wanted to share."
Brian's defense team also attempted to create doubt over the identification of the skeletal remains, claiming that those of Veronica Abouchuk may not, in fact, be her. They also asserted that Brian's confession was made in a state of exhaustion, following nearly 8 hours of questioning. Ultimately, Brian Stephen Smith was convicted on every count.
Went and watched and witnessed the most horrible thing that we will ever see in our entire life. And then we would go back to the jury room for sometimes hours on end and just sit and watch each other cry. It was absolutely terrible, and I am personally going through therapy about it right now.
In the numerous electronics and storage devices retrieved from Brian Smith's home and truck, there were photos of additional women who appeared to be beaten or unconscious. On one of Brian's cell phones were 3 images of an unidentified woman with a distinctive butterfly tattoo on her shoulder. Following the release of these photos, the family of another missing Anchorage woman, 38-year-old Cassandra Buskovsky, sought to have her legally declared dead, believing strongly that she was the woman in these photos.
I do believe strongly that she is another victim of Brian Stephen Smith. He asked me if I could look at another photograph that was actually in Brian Stephen Smith's phone and his deleted files, and I said sure. So I looked through FaceTime, and I could see through FaceTime that yes, it was Cassandra. It took a double look, but yeah, and I instantly just started crying.
Cassandra's last encounter with law enforcement was in August 2019. Her last contact with family was the following month. She was 4'11" and 120 pounds, had scars on both knees, her ears were pierced, and she had a tattoo on her neck of a butterfly in faded blue and black ink. Brian Smith subsequently admitted to spending a night with the woman in the photographs, but told law enforcement that when he left her, she was alive, in a state of extreme intoxication, lying on the ground. A jury of 6 believed there was enough evidence to grant a death certificate. The Anchorage police, however, have stated that although they strongly believe that the woman in the photos is Cassandra, they cannot be 100% certain.
To this day, at the Anchorage Police Department, we have not been able to 100% identify the female in the photos as Cassandra.
There have been numerous organized protests calling for the arrest of Ian Calhoun, who has never faced any charges related to his potential knowledge of his friend's crimes. An online petition has been launched which aims to convince police to charge Ian with failing to report a murder and hindering prosecution. The Anchorage Police Department has said the probable cause necessary to support criminal charges does not exist. Brian Smith does not currently face any further murder charges. Cassandra's family say they still hope for more evidence to emerge which could lead to a prosecution. There remains continued speculation that Brian Smith is responsible for more deaths than those for which he has been convicted. He denies killing Kathleen and Veronica and maintains that he has been framed by authorities.
Have you killed anybody?
No.
I guess then did you kill Veronica Abouchuk?
No. But that lady that was on my couch, she walked out of my house.
In the video, though, we see you undressed with her.
No, I was undressed. Oops, sorry. I was undressed, yeah. But she wasn't undressed. That lady on the ground, that wasn't her. That was Alicia.
How many people did you tell Alicia you had killed in South Africa?
Okay, well, it started off one person. And then she rewarded me with crazy stuff. At one point, we got to 6 people. And I know I went back to then I started killing people in America now, okay? Because now all the people in Africa are dead now, so I've got to go to America. These were fantasy stories. They were not real.
People think you're a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to that?
Well, that's nasty, that. But I don't blame them, because that's what the police and the DA took to the media.
Doesn't it seem, though, unlikely that someone would go through all that trouble to edit audio onto separate video?
Well, yes. That's why I know that there's something very, very serious going on here.
So who did that then?
I do not know, because I don't have evidence, but as far as I'm concerned, it was either the FBI or APD. Whoever killed them, those 2 ladies, is still out there.
On July 12, 2024, Superior Court Judge Kevin Saxby sentenced Brian Stephen Smith to 226 years in prison for the murders of Kathleen Jo Henry and Veronica Abouchuk. And that was the tragic case of Kathleen Henry, Veronica Abouchuk, and the potential serial killer, Brian Stephen Smith. If you're interested in viewing an extended version of Brian's interview with APD detectives, please check out the Interrogation Files channel on YouTube, who have kindly shared the source file with us to help produce this documentary. I'm Kevin, this is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
You see how Newton got his back? Yeah, the content that you need, this could be a new sign. We talk in the comments, they jot in a few lines. Tune in and hit like, love that, it's too kind. Feels like the whole world is online for true crime. Watch them on a run, but it's not a race. Really hard to disappear, poof without a trace. Sherlock Holmes with it, I put you in your place. Got my smoking pipe, only right, I crack another case.